Yeah, a very good evening to all of you socialites. Uh, Tonight's broadcast, it's strictly going to be talking about Ghana and especially the politics of Ghana. I'm not talking about partisan politics, but national politics and how leadership, Ghanaian leadership, is taking us for granted and disrespecting the intelligence of Ghanaians. Joyce, I can see you. Right. Um, I am going to zoom in on the 170 million US dollar fine that Ghana is going to pay for the cancellation of the contract between us and an EPA, a company who was supposed to provide energy for us for our use in Ghana. I'm going to zoom in on that and see if I can have my bite on that on the socialized platform. I have other platforms. I do real proper, I'm a politician. I do proper politics on other partisan politics on other platforms. But just because socialite is not partisan, I'll try as much to do a national politics for us to understand some of the things and begin to place things in perspective. Right. I'm at work. I'm very busy now, but because of information I've gleaned, I think the spirit is asking me to just do it now than defer same. Right. Um, we Ghana signed a power production contract with an entity during the Dunso days to provide energy, supply us with energy, power in order to get factories working, in order to light our homes and all of that. The agreement was established, consummated, and certain things were supposed to, in power supply, in all agreements, you have conditions subsequent and you have condition precedent. Some conditions you have to perform before the contract. Some after you've conducted, after you've agreed on the modalities, then you begin to perform some of it. Contracts are supposed to be performed. So it is the performance of the contract that the execution of the contract. So some executions have to be done, must predate the contract, and some must be post facto after the contract has been established. So this company was supposed to do a few things before the contract. I'm not going to delve into all the nitty-gritties of that. Ghana decided since 2015, 2016, this company signed a contract with SATS. In 2018, the new government decided to terminate the contract and assigned 3 reasons for the termination. You see, you can have a million reasons for terminating or taking an action, but it is the reasons you put forward, those you put on paper, that are the only reasons you are going to scrutinize. The other reasons you are going to assign are going to be ancillary to the reasons you put on paper. Because in contracts, proper business, it is information. So if you are terminating a contract because of A, B, C, D, you cannot exclude D or even C and say, oh, okay, I'm terminating it because of A, B, when in fact you have some basis on C and D as well. Right. Ghana terminated the contract, the current government terminated the contract in 2018. And, before you could terminate contracts like this, you require cabinets, all the ministers, including the president chairing, to take a decision on that. And that would have gone through several processes and scrutiny before such a decision will be taken. The reason being that you are not taking that decision on your own behalf. You are taking the decision on behalf of Ghanaians and all of us. And that if there are any, for instance, now that we have the judgment debt of 170 million US dollars, which is attracting compound interest of 6% daily, interest of 6% daily, and which is compounded at the end of every month. It is not those individuals whose decisions led us to this 170 million US dollars who are going to pay the debt. It is you and I. It is our children. It is our children's children. So we cannot say that, okay, somebody's ego or somebody's indiscretion or recklessness led us there and then it should rest there. No. Right. So these decisions must go through some detailed amount of scrutiny in order to make sure that we plug all loopholes and that we were not going to be worse off doing same. What happened in Ghana? Right, I'll cut a long story short. We gave the company 3 reasons why we think we wrote to the company, the Republic of Ghana, the government of Ghana, in 2018, wrote to the company, the entity, saying that we want to terminate the contract based on 1, 2, 3 reasons. So we gave them 3 reasons on paper for which we are deciding to terminate the contract. So we terminated the contract, and the entity took us to court in London. You know, such international contracts, there are courts abroad that deal with that. So it took us to arbitration. And in such arbitrations, the parties, when I'm talking about parties, the entities engaged in the arbitration, which is the Republic of Ghana, the company, would select their own judges. Listen, in the arbitration, Ghana selected one judge, one specialist. We nominated him, we picked him and said he's a Ghanaian, Professor Fiadwe, who has expertise in that field. We selected him onto the panel. And then the company also selected one judge. And the 2 judges met and selected another judge. So there were 3 individuals, 3 experts, judges who sat on the arbitration case. I want to give this education so that some Ghanaians will understand what happened. I've cut out a lot of the details. I just want to emphasize, focus on how negligent our leaders have been. We selected our own judge. The company also selected their own judge, and the 2 judges came together and selected one neutral judge to listen to our arbitration, to listen to our cases. The letter we sent to the company, we submitted same and all other reasons to back that up. You know what? When it came to the ruling, even the judge we selected, Professor Fiadwe, dismissed all the 3 and more reasons we used to terminate the contract. All the 3 judges agreed that Ghana didn't have a case. They dismissed not even one single reason we presented to the arbitration in London stood. Not even one reason. They said we were wrong, including even the judge that we selected, that Ghana, who is a Ghanaian, Professor Fiadwe from Volta region, whom we selected. He also dismissed all the arguments we presented. And they made very damning, very, very insulting commentary. And these are all captured in the Abitral award. They told us that we were reckless. They told us that we slept on the job. They told us we didn't have a case. None of the, they said all the arguments we presented were wishy-washy and that the termination didn't have any foundation. And the sad part was that individuals who were said to have participated in the committee or the committee that advised government to terminate the contract went to the arbitration in the person of the name has just escaped me, and disagreed on some of the arguments, some statements that the Attorney General and government made. They said they never gave that. They don't have any recollection of giving that advice. The advice to terminate the contract, they do not have any recollection. And these are individuals that government sponsored to go and help them prosecute the case as witnesses, as people, technical people who advised them to take the decision. And they went to the arbitration in London, stood before and told the arbitration that they do not have any recollection of ever advising the government of Ghana to terminate the contract. So I'm just trying to cut out a lot of the details. The sad part of it is that the arbitration happened in United Kingdom, international law, and most of all the judges were English judges, including even the Ghanaian specialist was an English judge. Government of Ghana failed to appoint a counsel or somebody from the United Kingdom to represent us. Somebody who has specialization in English law to represent us. But rather went with the Attorney General's department, lawyers from the Attorney General's department, contracted a private legal firm from Ghana to go and prosecute a case, to help them put up a defense in an English court. Who does that? You are going to an English court and you brought a lawyer who has expertise in Ghana law. I would have thought that you would use an English lawyer to lead, a barrister to lead the case, and then you would use Ghanaian lawyers to support him or her, but not to go solely and wholly with only Ghanaian lawyers. And it was only after our case collapsed and we were humiliated badly that we went looking now for English lawyers to go and set the judgment aside. And we went to two specialists, one of them including Tony Blair's wife, who is an international lawyer of the highest repute that I've known. Even she, after studying the case, said Ghana never stood a chance of, before we went to another. And any consultation you made, you pay a lot of money for. So we went to a second, and you see, the insulting part, the part I am angry about is that even in Ghana, when such a ruling is made, when such a judgment is made, you have the court gives you a number of days to ask for a review or to appeal. This is common sense. This is basic. This is trade knowledge. Any lawyer knows that. Well, if Ghanaians would want to be educated, if we want to be honest with ourselves, this current Attorney General, this current government, 23 days after the expiry date, I said 23 days after the expiry date, that was the expiry date was in January, 23 days after the expiry date of the deadline for asking for a review or retrial or whatever, or appealing the arbitral award 23 days after the deadline we've been given has expired. That was when government of Ghana went to pay another lawyer to file for the case to be reviewed. And that was dismissed even at the doorsteps. The reason being that the deadline has passed. Well, I'm not trying to do partisan politics here. I'm just trying to hold Ghanaian leadership, people we vote for, appoint into positions of power and expect them to represent our interests. I just want to see if indeed, if it was their own businesses, if Ghana was their own businesses, if Ghana was a corporate entity that they owned, some of these decisions, some of this reckless conduct, they would allow it. The deadline has even elapsed, and you now use our taxpayers' money to pay a lawyer, knowing too well that whatever effort you are going to make is not going to resurrect the case. The case is dead and gone. 23 days after. The window you had to ask for a review, a retrial, or whatever, you did not take any action. 23 days after the date expired, then you want to resurrect the case. Who will do that? Do you have any evidence of that ever happening at that level of international law? Do you have any evidence to tell us how whether that has happened or not before? But unfortunately, this, you see, Ghanaians, we seem to glorify mediocrity. We glorify mediocrity so much that even this obvious, can you imagine? We selected 3 judges. We selected our own judge. And even the judge we selected dismissed all our arguments, dismissed all the case that we put across, dismissed all the reasons, everything we said, even the condemnation of our Attorney General and the Ghana legal team, the legal team that represented Ghana, even the condemnation of same was eloquently agreed upon by the judge that we, Ghana, also selected. So we went into a football match with our own referee. And even our own referee told us that we were reckless and that we didn't even know what we were doing. Our own referee told us that. This is what happened in London. This is what happened in London. I've tried to cut out a whole lot of the narrative, but the fact of the matter, I will repeat what happened. We signed a contract with a company in 2015, 2016. We agreed on conditions, precedent conditions, subsequent. Government changes hands 2 years after. Government decides to terminate the contract and assigns reasons that the company did not meet A, B, C, D. And the company went to arbitration in international courts in London. The processes of the courts require that Ghana, as a party, we select our own judge. We, all over the world, there are experts, a field of experts. We selected a Ghanaian, Professor Fiajoy from Volta region, I think from Hokwe area. We selected him to be the judge in our case. The company also selected their own judge, and Professor Fiajoy and the other judge sat together and nominated a neutral judge, Abitral, to come and sit with them. So there were 3 judges. At the end of the day, all the 3 judges dismissed every argument Ghana put forward, including even Professor Fiajoy. And very damning commentary were made about the legal team that represented Ghana at the international, at the court in London. And Professor Fiadwe also made very appalling statements about our conduct. And they dismissed, they said Ghana didn't have, we had no reason whatsoever. Every reason we tabled for backing out of the contract, for terminating that contract, didn't have a leg to stand on. And everything we said about the company not doing, in fact, was non-existing. The company had actually performed, and that it was the company, it was Ghana rather, who had reneged on some of the things we should have performed, and that the company had done everything, had satisfied everything, and that it was rather the opposite. So this is the kind of leadership that Ghana has. And then after the award, 3 years after the contract was terminated in 2018, 3 years of going back and forth to London to represent Ghana. After we've been penalized, we are $170 million plus worth of. We have an attorney general now beginning a PR charade to blame those who put the contracts together, and that he suspects crime. You see, fraud vitiates all. If the English court, if the court in England, the International Tribunal, if the tribunal had, if we had made any such argument, if we had any evidence of crime being committed in putting up, why did we not table that? Why did we not advance that at the court? And even if we did and it was dismissed, it was because it has no validity and that it didn't have any leg to stand on. But after we've lost the money, we have an attorney general who should be humble enough by now, who should be, a bit considerate that maybe his inactions or his recklessness or that of his office may have contributed to this loss to Ghana. You have that attorney general, and I'm not talking for partisan purposes. I'm talking as a Ghanaian. You have that attorney general now turning around to say, oh, I am going to ask the CID now to go and investigate NDC. NDC ministers who or specialists who put the contract together. You want to ask, 2018, when the contract was terminated, did they not see or suspect crime at 2018? So if indeed they suspected crime, 2018, 2019, 2020, well, they now, we are in June, almost, we are in June, 6 months into 2021. So if you add 2021, 4 years, we are now, or more than 3 years, we are now talking about crime. After we've lost the money, did we just wake up because we've lost the money? So what if we had won the case? Was he going to still go back and pursue those who put the contract together? And then the worst part was that this contract was terminated 2 years before the last election. And every election, you either win or lose. Godfrey Dame knew, or the government knew, that it is possible they could lose the election. And that if indeed the NDC individuals who put the contract together had committed any crime, if NDC should come back to power, NDC was not going to try their own. They were not going to do so. What stopped the government from initiating the process in 2018, or at least 2019 before the elections? I believe it would have even been of political capital to the government leading to the election. Why now? Why now? So you have suspected crime at that level, and it's taking you 4 years. You are now going to ask the CID to start investigations. Who does that? If we are in any other jurisdiction, the Attorney General should have been asked to resign. But unfortunately, Ghana, some of these details escape us because of our partisanship. Some of these details elude us. Just give me a sec. Yes, man. Yeah, good, man. Yes, like I was saying, because of partisanship, some of these details elude us. You see, some of these details elude us. Why is the Attorney General now talking about involving the police CID? When for 4 years, if he knew this as the Deputy Attorney General at the time, who has been very instrumental in prosecuting government cases, even during the last 4 or so years. Yeah, you can. Yeah. So what stopped him from initiating this process? What stopped Gloria Akufo from initiating the process then? What stopped Godfrey Dame and Gloria Akufo coming together to initiate the process at the time? But wait till after, just when this case has made news, and everybody, instead of the government allowing us to read the Abitral award and read the commentary and read the insults that the 3 individuals, including the veritable Ghanaian, the Ghanaian Professor Fiadwe at the court in England, in London, including some, heaped on them, instead of they allowing us to read that and make our own judgment, they rather turn the case around and try now to embark on a PR charade. You see, people have been talking about fix the country. Well, and others say we should rather fix our attitudes than fix the country. Well, I think if we are going to fix our attitude, politicians, people we put in places like that, should also be fixing their attitudes. They should be sitting up and doing the work we pay them to do and doing it so well. And if their negligence and recklessness could result in us losing even a penny, they better stand aside, sit aside, and allow others to come and do the job. Thank you.